Greetings survivors and friends, SHADOWFRAX here, as always with your weekly slice of Rust Pie, and in this episode we have scarecrows, skulls, and murderous individuals. But first, looking for somewhere to store your non-existent vehicle? Unless you've spawned a sedan in, of course. Well, look no further, as we have a brand new garage door wall frame insert to fiddle with, and here's the lowdown. You'll only find it in crates to begin with, and once researched for a cost of 75 scrap, it can be crafted for 300 frags and 2 gears at a tier 1 workbench. It has 600 health, making it fairly hench, and the lock placement's a bit iffy right now, but perfectly functional. It's also a skinnable item, and lo and behold, there are 2 of them in the store ready to go. Well, isn't that handy? But if actual vehicles are still further down the road, what's the point in having these now, you may ask? Well, it was all just a case of the old low-hanging fruit scenario. Everything was in place for them to be implemented, and not much extra work was involved, so why not pluck away? I'm sure apart from the higher health, there are some tactical advantages to them too, so see what you can come up with. It is, of course, that time of year when people like to strategically poke holes in big orange things and satisfy their deep-seated cosplay fetishes minus the usual backlash from society. And so, for a limited time, you'll notice a few not-so-subtle alterations to the landscape. Resource pickups for metal, stone, sulfur, and wood have all transformed, and there's a new one for bone, which looks like some sort of humorous skydiving accident, if you ask me. They also yield 50% more at the moment. In addition to this, there are 2 exclusive deployable items available on the Steam store, namely a skull, fire pit, and a scarecrow. The scarecrow doesn't really do anything, although I must admit I haven't seen any crows around since putting one down, and the fire pit is a bona fide campfire, functioning in exactly the same way as you'd expect from the normal one, but with added homeliness. Something else that snuck sneakily into the update this week was this chap, Blaster, your local friendly murderer. But don't hate on him, he's only doing his job. Over the next week, he and his friends will randomly spawn around the map, and their basic instinct is to generally cause a nuisance. They do carry a variety of loot though, so there is a potential benefit if one shows up to your cabin in the woods. Over to tweaks and fixes now, and last week's plan to overhaul loot tables is still pending, although in the meantime, this update sees loot items all having an equal chance of dropping within their tier. When you consider that some tiers contained 40 different items, and some of those only had a 1 in 10 chance of dropping, this could make obtaining them a bit tricky. Loot tables will, as I say, all be changing soon, but for now, this should help make things fairer. In other changes, the ladder leading to the top of the launch site was inspected by Health and Safety and found to be a bit of an insurance liability. Therefore, you will notice a rework to this area, including a makeshift walkway with handrails, of course. We wouldn't want you falling off. There is talk of more changes to the rocket factory building itself, with further pathways in and out, including more variety and opportunities for cover, but no precise details just yet. The new barbecue received a couple of fixes over the last week, namely to stop it clipping through walls and to prevent it from being placed on monuments. Netting wall frame inserts are cheaper now, and a default blueprint, and the double-barreled shotty deploys a little bit faster. It was noticed that third-person player model wrists and elbows were doing some funky distortions, and this was tracked down to Unity messing with the bone rotations for some reason. This is now fixed, although further work is planned to improve these joints. Bone followers, nothing to do with Halloween, received a fix too this week. Basically, objects that were parented to another object were sometimes lagging behind by 1 frame whilst in motion, most notably on vehicles and when running. This system is all changing soon, but in the meantime, it won't look so weird. And in the ongoing quest for realism, decal biome tinting was changed to give footprints and bullet impacts the correct colour for their location instead of a generic grey. In performance, auto turrets were targeted to stop them from all performing their calculations in the exact same frame as each other. This could affect servers very negatively when a lot of them were present, and so spreading their thinking out over many frames should improve things a lot. Several issues with server performance were tracked down and fixed this week. Garbage collections, entity snapshots, networking and logging were all enhanced. Also, a number of improvements to graphical performance were made, with optimizations to particle collisions and effect overlays contributing hopefully towards a better experience. And network encryption was added as default to all servers this week, but if you're a server owner and yours is struggling, you can adjust it with these convars. Please see the dev blog this week for full details. Over to works in progress now, and although the scientists aren't in yet still, AI is in a much more polished state, and we've already seen the fruit of this with our friendly neighbourhood murderers. There have also been various improvements behind the scenes to spawn locations, stuck prevention, movement and nav mesh grids. A few more shots of snow biome progress now, and as you can see, icebergs are starting to look really good, although this is just the tip. More detail is being added with boats stuck in the ice and possibly some loot drops which could make the area more useful for its inhabitants. No news exactly on whether these will be ready for the next forced wipe on the 2nd of November, but here's hoping. Last week I mentioned that some fancy new effects could be on the way, and as a start, water splash sprites are getting a makeover, as you can see here, including one for when players actually jump in. And lastly, that new nail gun is nearly ready to enter the animation phase of development, with a few small issues surrounding shaders to be sorted first. It looks like being hit with this could burn, and I'm pinning my hopes on it being fun to use, so all being well, we'll be able to play around with it soon. Thank you for watching this week. Leave me a like and subscribe if you're not already. Come and join the collective on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and my Steam group too, if you'd be so kind, and I shall catch you all in my next vid or stream. In the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.